Alright, there we go. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and for today's review, I'm going to talk about Spiritbox, a Canadian metal band out of Vancouver Island, British Columbia, and their song Constance. This was a group I heard on SiriusXM's radio, more specifically from the station Liquid Metal, and when I first heard this song, I was so intrigued by it, so I decided to do it justice by doing a review on it. I decided I wanted to talk about this group because I was searching for new and upcoming artists in 2021, but I couldn't find one that appealed to me in order to follow up from my first review that I did a couple weeks back. So I decided that, you know what, I know about Spiritbox, and they got some new material in the works, and they're still relatively new, so let's just do them. And so, here we are. Now, for a brief history about this group. Courtney the Plant, the vocalist of the group, and I apologize if I'm saying the last name wrong. I'm real sorry, guys. And her husband and guitarist, Mike Stringer, they were part of the metalcore band I Wrestled a Bear Once. But they seemed to go through what I interpreted as an identity crisis because they were listed as replacement people instead of permanent members of the group. And not only that, they seemed to state that there was a lack of creative input with the songs. They just didn't have that connection. So, among other reasons, they decided that they were going to leave that group, and they went to go on to form Spiritbox. In a couple interviews, Courtney mentioned about how they turned to technology, more specifically YouTube and the streaming services, in order to get their name out there and build an audience. Not too long after that, they managed to get over millions of views on YouTube, they got twice that many streams, and they started topping the radio charts with their hit song, Holy Roller. I even saw that Liquid Metal Station, I know this is up for interpretation, but Liquid Metal Station, the little segment called Devil's Dozen that's led by Jose Mangan, listed the song as #1 for 2020. Today, the group is a trio set. They've now included a bassist, but they don't have a permanent drummer. They've just been using a couple touring drummers for the last couple of tours, so that's where they currently stand. The music itself alters in tones and moods, with some parts, or a good majority of the song, having an uplifting feel to it, while Courtney's clean vocals just takes your mind to a divine place far, far away. Then all of a sudden, it shifts to like a serious or darker tone, usually signifying like a headbanging moment. And it's usually like stuff you would hear like in a metalcore band, but it doesn't turn you off because you hear a little bit of ambience going on in the background. And not only that, it seems to like signify like a horror movie kind of scenario playing out. At these parts, Courtney starts showcasing her vocal growls in order to just add like another layer to it. And it just adds to that feel. They infuse other elements from metalcore, progressive metal. You hear some industrial sounds every now and again. And you also hear like bits and pieces that might have been from songs from bands like the Deftones or Tesseract, which they did list as inspirations. Other songs, they'll start off like maybe a bit more serious and darker. Then perhaps in like midway through the song, they might have like an uplifting moment there. Other songs like Holy Roller will just keep like a consistent metalcore like throughout the song. For Holy Roller, there's like a little bit more like a darker edge to it, considering like what the lyrics and even what the music video is about, which I'll get to in just a moment. It just maintains like a darker feel throughout, and that's actually pretty good, and that's actually one of the band's best strengths. Being able to have like this diverse kind of shifts throughout the whole album as well. They're able to really avoid being labeled as like, oh, we're just going to label this a metalcore band because we're hearing these breakdowns. Well, no, they have this and that going on. So it's a good thing too because they're able to avoid being just labeled as the various genres that we just came up with, or being labeled as like too hard or too soft, whatever kind of music people are into. And that's the thing they really emphasize. They emphasize being fluid or fluidity. I mean, they do what they want, and regardless of which direction they're taking, that's what they're going to go with, and it just flows perfectly. Not only that, but having these kind of shifts in tones and moods helps this band avoid being repetitive and monotonous. For the lyrics, I was reading some articles from Loudwire and Louder Sound that talked about how they infuse dark, horror kind of themes into their lyrics. And according to Courtney, it seemed like it was a good way to like explore things that make her anxious, but in a good, safe way. For instance, the music video for Holy Roller shows the protagonist's slow descent into insanity. They cited that the folk horror movie Midsummer was the inspiration behind that video. But with the song Constance, you see a different side to their writing. I remember when I first heard the song, I was going to work and the song came on and I was instantly hooked on it. Musically, the guitar work seems to symbolize one just like drifting away off to a beautiful place, while Courtney just adds another layer of grace to it with her vocals. At certain points, the guitars start taking a little bit of a darker tone, perhaps like signifying a horrifying moment of someone suffering from a mental issue. Courtney doesn't do any growls, which is something she personally wanted to do, but that's inconsequential and there really wasn't a need to like have any on there. It wouldn't have taken away like how effective they performed on this song. As I dug a little deeper into the lyrics, I saw they were given a poetic message about how one's mind starts to betray them after a long struggle with a mental issue, mainly dementia. The song is named after Dylan Hyrciuk. I think that's how you pronounce his name. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. I'll leave his name down below. But his grandmother had passed away from dementia during the pandemic. Not only that, I learned that Courtney had also lost her grandmother as well during the pandemic, and she was not able to attend her funeral. The song and the subsequent music video that was made, where Dylan served as the director for that video, it was made to honor both of their grandmothers. And that's really something, and it just adds to the power of this song. The music video is very well done, and in my opinion, it is one of their best works so far. It starts off with this average, we just want to call them like run-of-the-mill family, where they're visiting their grandmother. And it takes the point of view of the grandmother, where at first things starts off normal, but then she starts to slip mentally as the song progresses, and pretty soon she starts losing touch with reality, and it starts affecting her family as well. And that's extremely relatable, and I love these kind of music videos that have like these really strong messages within them. I'm sure there's people that have like seen these kind of mental disorders like firsthand when they had to like take care of their grandparents. I know I went through something similar when my grandmother started to deteriorate physically and mentally. And it was tough, and it was a lot to take in. But I don't want to focus on that right now. Let's just get back to the review. So for the last bit of critique, I really don't know what there is to criticize about this group. The production's very well done. It's clean, smooth, and it really brings out the instruments without them diminishing the quality of their work. I love Courtney's vocals, whether she's doing her vocal growls or clean vocals. They're very dynamic, and they just add to the depth of all of their songs. The band avoids being monotonous by being diverse on all of their songs. They'll incorporate elements from like a specific genre, which I mentioned earlier, from like the metalcore, the industrial sounds, but they just blend it so well with their own sounds that it really just makes it coherent. You really see that these guys have learned a good bit from their past experiences being in other bands, and they also learn like how to get their name out there using today's technology. And that's really about it. I got nothing bad to say about these guys. In conclusion, this band has the potential to be huge in 2021. They recently signed on to Rise Records, and I'm anticipating that they're going to make a killer album this year. I'm really excited for it. You know what? This band gets a perfect score. They get a 10 out of 10. Keep it up, guys. So, if you like this video, make sure you hit that like button and leave a comment below. I'd like to hear some feedback that you guys think about this group. Go out and show your support by buying their merch and listening to their music on iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, etc. Feel free to subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure you hit that bell notification so you can see more content like this in the future. As always, you're free to hit me up on social media. I'll leave down in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe and stay tuned.